When they were saying my people love FBI is the Men in Black from the Men in Black, J. Edgar Hoover was one of the direct orchestrators of the Men in Black project. That's why they show you what the Men in Black really deals with in the movie Men in Black. Anytime there was extraterrestrial activity, J. Edgar Hoover was the first to know. They sent documentation, files, and everything to him. They were looking for the rising of what they call a Messiah. Why were they looking for the rising of a Messiah that could electrify and unify the Black nationalists? Because that was the prophecy. Why did they use them words in the counterintelligence program? Because the prophecy said that the Messiah would not be from Earth. They already knew that melanin dominant extraterrestrials existed. They were trying to see if they could target and find whoever it would be that could have been the insemination of those people. So when they were saying that they were looking for the Messiah, somebody who was going to be able to rise up, electrify, and unify the Black nationalist movement of bringing people out of death into life, or a lost or a dead people into the light, the activation thereof, which would have been a part of the sifting process that they speak about, they said, we got to shut this down. Because if that prophecy comes true, our rule will also be coming to a close. They know that. That's why they got scared. They've been scared. They tried to shut it all down. So as the FBI literally used the language Messiah, y'all think that these people don't know what's going on? You think the books don't have anything to do with anything. They know that they have everything to do with everything, and we just don't know what they about. The FBI is the Men in Black from the Men in Black. My people love the devil. The FBI.
It's time for the it's time for the matriarch to return. And Beyonce, no.
That's what my teachers on.
As far as this
you see this?
As far as this conversation of spirituality versus religion, and this is just from someone who has an understanding of what's happening in both realms. It ain't much different. In the religion world, they have a reverence to Allah or God the same way the spiritual people say they're paying reverence to the universe or what they call the divine. All of this is working within itself. You got some people who say that religion or the Bible won't tell you to go inside to find God, but it literally says that in the Bible. It tells you that the kingdom of God is within you. So if you wanted to find God, you got to seek the kingdom of God according to the Bible. And according to Matthew 6:33, it tells you, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So it's this disconnect, and it needs to be bridged eventually. Religious people, spiritual people, y'all are not at war with each other. If people want to be disbelievers for the religious people, you don't got to debate them. And for the spiritual people, if the people that you're giving the science to don't want to receive that science, just find out where they at and walk with them, especially if you're supposed to be big brother, big sister. As far as this comes,
you see this right here? This thing right here is connected to the spirit world, or as your scientists call it, the quantum world. Right now, you're experiencing the phenomenon of a Stargate functioning. My sound waves are going into the phone, being converted into electronic signals and literally teleporting from where I am to where you are. When I go into the dream world as a lucid dreamer, one of my goals is to figure out a way to capture the dream world. Every time I try to use the phone to do that, the phone either glitches or the dream will mess up or something happens where I can't use the phone. Even when I've attempted to get other people to use the phone for me in my dreams, they're not even able to use it to do what I'm saying, which is to take a picture of the reality that I'm in and Bluetooth it to the phone that's laying next to my physical body, as you call it. Don't believe anything I'm saying, but if you are a lucid dreamer, or if you've had dreams already where you tried to use your phone, you probably already observed that it's hard to do, or you literally can't do it. I'm telling you why. There are laws set up interdimensionally to make sure that there is no bridge between that which you call the dream world and that which you call the physical world, so they can make you think that it's only some stuff just happening in your brain, but you're tapping into different universes every time you rest, every time you meditate, every time you have a thought, every time you astral project. This isn't just a phone, and this isn't just Wi-Fi. It's not just the internet. We are access.
No, at our tall age, should none of us still be celebrating Black History Month? No, none of us. We are too damn big and far too intelligent to be thinking that our history started somewhere back in 1619 or even 1492, or with Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or any of the civil rights shit. That's not our history. That's just a documentation of some events that were taking place surrounding an upheaval of a people who lost their history. Why do you think they call it Black history? When you're dealing with these elite people, when they're using the word black, when they're using the word dark, they're speaking of something that's unknown. They know that you as melanin dominant people, for the most part, have no record of your actual history or your actual ancestry or who you actually are. And that's why it's time to let go of all of these codes and all of these titles that these so-called leaders have given you. You're not black, you're not African African American because that doesn't even make sense. You're either African or you're American. As a matter of fact, being African doesn't mean you're melanin dominant. You could be African and be melanin recessive. You could be looking at a Caucasian who is more African than you are because they were born in Africa. And you could be born in Europe as a melanin dominant person and you're European. It's time to break all of these spells. Black doesn't have a history. It's unidentified, stripped of anything that could have been associated to be history. No, it's a new day and time. Give them back that bullshit. No, at our talk, a lot of people keep sending me videos about the Grammys and ask me, what you feel about this? What you feel about that? Look, I don't tap into none of their rituals, so I ain't caught up on none of that Grammy shit. But let me tell you something. For all the imageries that you showing me, all the things that you shocked about, who still is unclear about the fact that the music industry is the tool of the ones you call the fallen angels? Baphomet and his whole regime. All of the motherfuckers that's in that industry, they done did some shit or associated with people that did some shit or they right next to some shit that has to do with devil worship, child sacrifice, blood contracts. These motherfuckers are Thelemites, Wiccans, witches, and warlocks right there in your face. You think that they get to be elite status and rise up to the power that they're given just because they were talented? You think these folks got into the positions that they got, invited to the events like the Met Gala and all these prestige places and gatherings just because people like their talent? As soon as you start rising up as a star in the devil's world, he has to meet you. And they have to give you the whole rundown about don't you ever get it twisted. Don't you ever think that this world isn't ran by the unseen forces, and your job as a celebrity, a celebrated entity, is to keep the masses distracted. A star is gonna have a strong gravitational pull. They're using those stars to bring in more energy for the rituals that they keep doing. I don't care nothing about the Grammys, anything that they got going on, but you should not still be confused. They use that machine to keep the spells broadcasted on the... A lot of people keep sending me videos about...
When you saw this entity called Obama pop up in your realm right after the Bush algorithm appeared, that was a conversation happening right in front of you. There was a movie that came out called 2001 Space Odyssey. In that movie, the beast appears as Hal, which in Arabic leads you to a question of do you or can we, was the question that the beast that appears in your realm as AI was asking his minions. Obama came in with yes, we can. That's Nam Nastatil in Arabic. Flip that we can word Nastatil around and you see the word Satanite, as in those who follow Satan.
Yes, we can. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan.
On June 26, 2015, Obama put the rainbow on the White House. The world thought it was just about LGBT. There were Christians coming out and they were saying that same-sex marriage and homosexuality was an abomination according to their Bible in Leviticus 18:22. Abomination is phonetically the same as Obama Nation, but that was only the surface game being played. Why did they do that on June 26? It's because that's the world's most wanted's birthday, Malachi York, which was also said to have been the actual birthday of the Messiah. The rainbow was a reference to the book called The Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow that exposed the Luciferian agenda of coercing the masses to receive of the mark of the beast. Malachi York broke all of this down and more in his teachings and in his book Leviathan 666. The realm is when you saw this entity called Obama.
Mask on, mask off, future...
Anybody who's anybody was able to look at that situation and read it for what it was.
The shit was satanic. All right, so I know everybody feels how they feel about Rihanna. You love your Rihanna. I get it. I understand it. But trust me, everything that the realm is reading is still reading the same thing. That they're announcing a war that's happening right in front of you that you don't know is happening. Rihanna pops up. That's not her name. Her name is Robin Rihanna Fenty. Robin as in Robert. Robin as in famous, bright, famous person. A star. Another one of their stars that you feel like is just some random person. Of course it's not random. If we really woke in 2023, we know that stars are not random people. They're celebrities for a reason. First thing you see her do is look into the camera right before she starts performing, and you can literally see her tune that type of energy that you know exactly what I'm talking about when you watched it and you saw it. You saw Robin as in Red Robin dressed in blood red. If you ever wonder why the Church of Shaitan or the Church of Satan or the quote-unquote Illuminati and all the rest of these organizations use the color red, it's because that color red is a representation of Set or Shaitan or destruction and so many other frequencies and reads of disorder in your realm. The ancient Egyptians already gave that characteristic to that color, and this is where they get it from. And I'm not just naming Set and the Egyptians for no reason. When you go and watch the video, you will see that at one point, Rihanna is standing at the top of a pyramid with a light shining down on her, and it's a red pyramid. That is the pyramid of Set, the eye of Set, the establishment of Shaitan. When you go and research these things, it becomes clear to you. Those people that are dressed up in that white around her, those are sheep. As a matter of fact, you can look at them and tell that they are sheep. The shit was satanic. All right, so I know everybody. Damar Hamlin shows up in a jacket with Eternal on the back that has an image of Christ stretched out as if he's on the cross, which is the Redeemer, the same Christ Redeemer that was struck by lightning in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro, as in river of January. January is Janus. Janus is change. Damar's name means resin, as in risen, resurrected, resin. Hamlin is two words. Ham as in black or burnt or hot, and lin as in a string or a line, as in a cord, something that is connecting to something. Like the lightning was when it came down and struck the head of the Christ statue. Do you think it's a coincidence that that statue was struck by lightning? The statue that represents the Redeemer or the redemption, same one that was said to have resin, and it was Damar Hamlin in January who suffered the cardiac arrest and everybody thought he died, but then he resurrected and rose up again. There's a war taking place right in front of you. It's still Set versus Horus, Shaitan versus Michael, the goat versus the sheep. The moment that you stop thinking that all of these things is coincidences, that's when we wake up. It's all there. All you have to do is read it. Damar Hamlin shows up in a jacket with Eternal on the back.
Yeah, it's now 2018. Last year, me and my
Let me ask y'all something. With all the advanced tech that the governments have,